Yeah, I can see your screen. Oh, showing names now.
Okay. Please help me look for them. Like
All right.
I open a model. Okay, it's different. Okay, they can't see my screen. Actually, yeah, they can't. They can't. They can't. They can't. I open it from different desktop. Which one is my phone? Which one? Oh, this is this one. What is it? I open it from different desktop, so they won't be able to see. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Can you see this window?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Before I'm open from different desktop, so they won't be able to see. They won't be able to see. So now we have what we call calculated column and measures. Remember in the last class we said, okay, calculated column. When you do your calculation column, you'll be able to see your results in your existing table that you have in your data model. But measures, you won't see that result, but it will save it as a virtual calculation for you. You will only see it when you apply it to a visual in your charts. So usage of calculated column, you can use it as a slicer, as a filter, as a row, as a column. For measures, you can only use that value in a visual or visual level filters. You cannot use it as a column, you cannot use it as a row. You cannot use it as a filter, but as a filter your slicer, you cannot use it. You can only use it in the chart. And that chart will filter through those calculations. So language to create calculated columns, we use DAX, we use mQuery, yeah, which is Power Query. So you can create a calculated column, which is what we covered in our last when we are doing our data cleaning and transformation, which is add column stuff like that. So that is Power Query, which is M. Or you can use that. You can use both DAX and M to create calculated column. But for measures, you can only use DAX. So the scope of how the calculated column calculate, as in how does it work? It's calculated by row, like it take each of those rows and calculates by them. And for measures, it's by set of rows, like a combination of rows or table, and we'll combine them together. So calculation happens when the calculation happens for calculate. When you refresh your data, that's when the calculation happens. But for measures, before your calculation happens, when you refresh your data, it will be when the date when the what's it called when the chart that you apply it to when it's refreshing, that's when the calculation occur. So it makes your model run faster. But if you're having calculated column much on your model, it will take time to load because you first calculate in your data model before you now take it to your reports. Now be calculating all those values. So what are the effects that both of these two do? You can see if you are using calculated column much, it blows up your data model. For measures, it increases report performance compared to calculated column. So I will have quick measures. We explained this in our last class too. So now let's move into what we call measures and calculated column, which is what we call DAX. Are you with me?
Yes, we are with you.
So after we understand what our DAX is now, the next thing we need to do is to understand context. Understanding context. This is the hardest thing for you if you want to understand DAX. So you need to understand what we call context, which is evaluation context and a what's it called? And filter context and a row context. So let's open our Power BI to show the demo. Let's open our Power BI to show the demo. Understanding context. Whiteboard. Understanding context. So comes to my iPod. So data modeling on that. So now last class we explain what's it called, what measures is. So for you to do measures, you come to what's it called, you find this here, new measure. But if you come to your table view here, your model view, you will find it at the top. You can see. So any calculation, you have new measure, you have new column, you have new table. So if you come to your data view, you still find it here when you do your calculation. So new measure, quick measure, new column. So in our last slide, I think we created a measure. Okay, let's see where we created our measure for. I didn't see. Okay, we created some measure, number of products, and we created some measure. You see, we cannot find it in our table here for this table. And the calculated column that we created, this one, you can see we can see it. So and we have new table, which is what we call calculated table. So and we'll be exploring all those DAX one by one now. So before then, let's explain what we call a context. Let's explain what context is. So when we're talking of context, understanding. Yeah. I need to buy pen. Understanding context. My writing is not good. Understanding context. Don't mind my writing, my writing is not good. So in understanding context, there is one thing you need to understand for, which is what we call evaluation context. For you to know how that works. Evaluation context. Evaluation context. So this evaluation context now divided into two. So we have what we call a filter context and have what we call a role context. How we call it what? A role context first. Let me explain what a role context first. A role context. And what's the second one? A filter context. A filter context. So these two things are what are the things that guide what we call that. These two contexts are what guides that. Everything you want to understand about that. Once you understand the context, that will not give you a headache. So, and then before you move on from there, you need to understand that, okay, your data model is well connected. As we highlight this, your data model should be well connected. Once the data model is well connected, your evaluation context will work okay. Let me bring for example here. Let me bring total number of products. Number of products. Okay. Number of product by product name. Number of product by product name. Yeah. One. So if I come here, my fact table, and I say, you know what, a new one for me. So we're explaining all this with our DAX. Product ID with number of products. Yeah. Product ID, show me the data. What's my product ID for? Where is it? Axis. Okay, y axis and x axis. And then product name rather. Yeah. So we'll be using this. Let me bring you one more visual so we can explain more better of evaluation context for us. So we have number of product by product name. We have count of products, which is the same thing for these two, which is number one. Let me bring you one more visual. Let me see customer with total sale. Contact name. Contact name with total sale. Okay, I don't have total sale yet. Okay, we are not calculating total sales. But let's so customer name by, let me put this in the table that we have before. Customer name by the total cost. Yeah. So we use these three. Let me now explain what evaluation context is first. The first thing about Power BI that is used to overcome is interactivity. So once I click something, when I click this first one here, let's say, okay, I select this Roland Mendel, what's his name? This Roland Mendel, if I click this Roland Mendel, you will see a change applied to all of other ones. You see change applied to this one, right? No change applied to this one, no change applied to this one. Right? Let me click on this again and then go back to normal. If I click on this, you see a change that applies to what? Applies to everything. Are you with me? Are you guys there?
Yes, we are with you.
Okay, please. What about the audience? Please confirm them. Some are in the lobby, and please help me confirm them and run them in. Okay. So please let's take note of this evaluation context. So you see, when I click on one here, it applies to all other ones there. So what that application of what happens now is what we call evaluation context. Because everything here, because I click something here, everything in this model are connected. So because for this visual that I selected here, product name, this product name, the product name can be found. It has a connection that connects to this, measures into, because these products are from product tables. Everything here are from product tables. This one too here, this unit price, is it from the product table? No, but the name related to product table. This product ID here is from this product table. That's why it's what's it called? It's drilled down to all of them. It filtered them. But we call it evaluation context. So anytime you click on anything in Power BI and it's applied to all of them, it means that is evaluation context. So if I click on these two now, it will apply to everything that related to them. Can you see now? For this product name, it relates to everything that relates to them. Can you see that? Because they have connection. If I click another one, so you see, it's applying to all of them, which is what we call evaluation context. So evaluation context will show everything when you click on any what's it called? Any records on your visual. It's applied to everything that is connected to them by that model. By that what? By that model. As I just explained now. So let me come here now. If you notice the same thing that I bring here, number of products and count of products. But if you look here, everything is showing the same thing. If I look here now, if I hover on it, it's showing number of products as 1. If I hover on this one now, number of products for this product is 27. This one is 26. But everything here is showing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Who can tell me the reason? Anybody? Anybody can tell me why this one is showing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1? Because it's a count? No. These things count. No.
No.
Another person? Okay. The reason it's showing one more that are so different is this. Because for this visual here, there is no connection. I'm bringing those two information from this product table, which is okay. I want to see the number of products, and I want to see the number of what by the product name, product by the product name, which means there is nothing to filter to show the context from this table. This is the product table, and there is no connection that will slice them through. But as I bring a product ID from this one that I count, because what I do for product table for that one is count of everything in this product table, and which is same thing here, count of product ID. It means look in this product ID and filter this product name. You see, because there's a connection. Look at this product name here and slice through it for product ID. Can you see? There's a connection. So that's what we call a filter context. That's what we call it what? A filter context. You see, when it slides, because it look this product name, if I click on this one, you see, it's looking from this dimension product table for product name, look into this fact table and slice through the count of products in this fact table here. And that's why it can be giving us the accurate number. Can you see that now? So if your, what's it called? If your data modeling is wrong, you always have something like this in your report. You will not be able to slice through. So now let's come to what we call row context. We have explained what evaluation context is. So evaluation context is now divided into row context and filter context. So let's come into what we call a row context. So in this our row context, we want to have our cells. For this fact table, we have unit price and quantity. How can we calculate our cells? How can we calculate our cells? So to calculate our cells, we need to multiply cells by unit price by what? I've already given expo. How can we calculate cells? How can we calculate sales price? The business people in their class. It seems you guys are not following today. Okay. Unit price by quantity. What is the question? Thank you. Thank you. So to calculate our price, we need to make some calculation. So for this calculation now, we need to do it with what we call DAX. So there are two ways I want to explain what evaluation is. I want to explain what role context is before and I'll do the filter context. So for us to do this now, we'll say, you know what, for this fact table, create a new column for me. Create a new column. Don't forget, if you are creating a new column, your data model will be getting bigger. And from this new column, call it sales. Call it sales. And for this sales, you should look what we call Alhamdulillah. For this sales, you have what we call unit price. You divide unit price and you select fact table unit price. And you click on your tab, it will automatically put it. Times what? Times fact table quantity. Fact table quantity. And you click on enter. You can see it will load and create a what? And it creates a sales column for us. And it creates a what? Sales column for us. What does this sales column does? This first one you find here, it means the name of the column that you want to do. The name of the column that you want it to be is what it will be. And you put your equal to, which means, and your expression will come next. This is your first DAX calculation. And this is what we call a goal context, which is calculated column. So anytime you see a calculated column, it's telling you it is a what? It is a goal context. Anytime you see a calculated column, it's telling you it is a goal context. So how does this goal context works? This goal context, how it works is this. We'll look at this first one here. This first row and this next row that you call in your calculation, multiply them together and give you the answer. You will look at the next row, look at the answer, give it. You can see 7.7 times this. It will give you this. This times this times this. It will give you this. You can see how it works. 80, 90. If any rows there have errors, it will give you error for that.
Muba,
Hello?
your screen
Yes?
is lagging.
Hey, my screen is lagging. Are you
Yes.
experiencing? Are you
It's
experiencing
from
this
the
at your own?
charts. No, not at
Okay.
all.
Are you experiencing? Okay, it's
Not
from
at
the
all.
person then. Is it okay now for people that are experiencing it? Is it okay now? Let me continue.
All right, go ahead.
So what row context does is it will look row by row for that your calculation that you do, and will give you your answer in a row context, in a column, which is a row context. So if any row contain error, that rows will give you error. It will not go. And that's what a row context does. So let me now do what total sales. Let's see what total sales is. Let me bring this into our visual. We can find our calculation here. Completed. So let's have a new visual for card. So for this card, I want to see total sales. So anything you put on the card, when you go to visual, we explain it. You have how many? 589,000 cells, like 589,000. That is some of the cells. And that is for what? That is for row context. So let me show us what a filter context does. So a filter context, before I move on to filter context, okay. So a filter context is what we call a measure. Is embedded into a measure every time you want to have a filter context. So to a measure. So this same calculation that I created for cells, I will create it for measures too. So let's say come to my fact table and you say new measure. So most of your calculation that you want to do that contain aggregation should always be in your fact table. That contain what? Aggregation should always be in your fact table. So if it is normal, your count of something, number of something like this, you can put it in your dimension because you don't have anything to filter through that. You are using your dimension to filter through your fact tables. So if I click on new measures in this fact table now, we have a new measure, create like this. Don't forget, it can only contain what? Single calculation. So for me to have total cells with, what was it called? I will use a function called SUMX. I will use a function called SUMX. Or I can say sum everything for me. I can say sum everything for me for total cells of the created, right? I'm not using that. I will say total cells equal to, there's a function in that will call SUMX. Okay. Before I move on, before I create this function, I want to explain what this is. So in row context, anytime you want to have a row context, your row context mostly contains some of this sometimes. This sum, okay, this is not sum, this is aggregator, these are aggregator. So this iterating aggregator are for filter context too. Most of everything here are for filter context. This logical function are for row context. Logical function are for row context. Date function too, most times are for row context. Like some of these date function are for row context. So anything that is aggregation are for what? Are for filter context. So I will now say, you know what? Let's use aggregator function for that first. Let's say cells for measures. Cells measure equal to sum of what? You should look at sum of fact table of cells for us. So you should sum everything together for us. You sum everything together for us. And if you do that, you come to this our visual here. Clicking on a new visual, I will say, look at the cells measure. You can see how measure is. Don't forget, your measure will look in form of like phone icon, Your calculator column will look at table with summation. So if you click on this sales measure now, you can see give us the same thing. What this simple card does for us, when you get to visual, we'll explain what simple card does. Simple card does it will do the aggregation of everything if it is a number. Anything that we want to be in a card, it should be a summation. And you don't want that in summation, you can come to your settings here. Come to your settings in your build visual here, and you say, you know what? I don't want a sum. I want, what was it called? You can see you want medium, you want average, which is what we can use our measure to do. So you have covered one of aggregator function here. So what the measure now does for filter context is this. If I bring, let's say I want to see total sales by customer. Total sales by customer. I will come to here. I will say bring in customer for me. Okay. Bring in customer for me. And slice this through the total sales, this measure here. Don't forget in our fact table that we cannot find the total sales. Sales measure that we created, we cannot find it. So I will just say, okay, bring this on, and I want to see. You see, what this measure now does is filter context. It will look at this contact thing, filter through the total sales for that person. It will do okay, if this person buy product 10 times, it will look at that 10 times and will sum everything together for that person. For the next person too, We will look at the total sales that the person make, total purchase, and we'll sum everything together. That's what aggregator function does. And aggregator function are what? Are filter context, which is same thing we do there, which is same thing here. Same. Are we getting that? So if I come here, we can go more of filter context. We can say average sale. Let's cover one or two more filter. We can do 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do all of this simple aggregator before we now move into iterating function. So the next thing we should have here in this our variable is average sales. Average sales. Don't forget we are creating what? We are creating measures. Average ish. Average sales will be equal to, or average sales measure. Average sales measure will be average. If you are from Excel background, all these functions will not be new to you. So average of fact table of the sales that we calculated. Don't forget, these cells we are using here has already been calculated using our row context, our calculated column. So if I click on this now, it will create a new measure for average. So the next thing we want to do is to want to see the minimum sales. For minimum sales, we just come here, we say new measures. I will say this new measure will be minimum sales, minimum sale measure. It should be mean of what? Fact table sales price. We give us the minimum sales for that measure. And the next one we need to do is new column, and which is what? Which is maximum sales measure. Maximum fact table sales. Tab. I will click on close brackets. What again do you have for our aggregator? Count, and we have count tools and counter. So who can tell me the difference? If you already have experience about counter, count rules, who can tell me the difference between these two? If you are from Excel background or yeah, from Excel background. My screen is still lagging. Please, can you guys confirm? Okay. I don't know what to do to my screen lagging.
I'm
I can
breaking
hear
out
you.
from my end. I don't know if that's how it is with everybody.
I can't even understand anymore for this lagging because it's kind of getting. Please, are we still experiencing the screen lagging? Like, are we still experiencing the screen lagging? As I'm moving my mouse, can you see my mouse?
Your screen is on Teams. You're on Teams now.
Yeah. Can you see
Yes,
my
you have
mouse if I'm
minimized.
moving it?
Yes, you've gone back to Teams.
Ah. Let me. Can you guys give me a minute? Let me leave and join again. Can you see my screen now? Is it still lagging now or is it moving well? Is it moving right now?
It's coming up. I don't know. It's not showing your screen yet, but I'm sure it's coming up.
I think that will be from your end. Let me see the charts. Is it still coming up?
It's up now. It's showing the data model.
I think it is. I can't see. Please kindly respond. If it's still coming up as your invite. Okay. Please let me know as I'm moving my mouse. Like, is it following like this or is it still lagging?
Your mouse is not moving from my end. So.
Okay. So we stop at counter, context, and we stop at counter, count rows. So what this is telling us is this. What this counter we now come to count count measure. Count measure. What count does for us is this. Count will do the count of a number of a column. Anything that is in a column that contain only number, not text too, that contain only number. That's what only count will does. It will only count a number record in a specific column. So if I say, okay, look at this fact table now, and you should look at the customer ID. If I say count customer ID, fact table of customer ID, fact table of customer ID. And I click on close. If I run this, I will have 0. I'm coming there. So let's do what count A does. Count A, I say count A, counter, anyone how you want to pronounce it. Counter measure. Okay, my screen is still lagging. Blank screen. Please, is everybody experiencing blank screen? Yes. Please let me confirm. Are we still experiencing blank screen? Thank you. Ah, you guys. So counter measure, what it does for us is it will count both. It will count both the numbers. It will count both the numbers and text in what's it called? In a column. So if I say, okay, count fact table customer ID. Let's see what you have here. And the third one, we have what we call count rows. What does count rows does? Count rows counts every row in a table, whether it contains blank or it doesn't contain blank. It will count everything. Count rows. Count rows measures the first row. Count rows. And you can see it will ask for you for parameter of table. And I'll say, you know what? Count everything in fact table for me. And that is count rows. And the last one that we do, don't forget what this counter does. Counter count both rows and what? Rows, the number of rows and that contain text and number in the column, but it doesn't count blanks. So for you to count blanks, you call me and you say, you know what? Count blank for me. You have count blank function, so count blanks. count blanks equal to count blanks. Can see count blank of what? Of customer ID. Fact table customer ID. And click on enter. So let's see what we have in our measures and in our visuals. Don't forget, you cannot see your measure where you calculate it until you do what? Until you show it in a visual. So that's why you cannot even see it from everything we are having here on like calculated column. So to now have this, we come here, let me minimize this. Let me make this smaller. So let me bring in average sales. What do you have at the average sales? 5.894. That's our average counter. So this is for count measures. Counter, same thing. Okay, because we use the same column. And then we have count blanks. Blank. Yes. What again do you have? Count rows. If you have million, thousand or something. Okay. So what this tree does for us, you will see we have this three the same thing. Because we use a column that doesn't contain, where is the fact table customer ID? Customer ID. Because we use a column, counter we count everything in a column. Count rows we count every rows in that table. And count we count all the number, we count a column that contain numbers with no blanks. That's what counts with us. With no blanks, we will not count it with them. If I use employee ID now, it will still be the same. Let me find the column. Let me see if I have a column that has mixture of numbers and text. So there is no. There's no column that contains text and numbers. Oh shit. Okay, to explain that, let me quickly create a simple table here. Count. So we have one, we have this, we have
you just did your part.
so
Share this your part and back to your exam. You don't just manage it there.
please let me know if you are following before I move on. Okay. Yeah, we're explaining this scenario now. I think we have a table that will explain those scenario for counts for us. So let me use this one again. Count measure. I will say, you know what? For this count measure, look at table 2. count scenario for me. And counter.
You can read it. Imagine kó lè ká ní ìgbòdo tó gbọ́.
Counter table 2. Table 2 and count blanks.
Flight mode ló ń sè.
Count blanks. Count blanks. Okay. Count blanks, count scenario. And what again do we have? What again do you have? Counters. And you have table 2. Yeah. So what is figures? Let me go to the table 2 table here. So you have how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So you see there are different counter, count measure, count blank 4, count rows. Okay. So what is count blank giving me in 10? There are blanks. I think what is count giving me in 10? There are blanks here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, good. So,
Okay.
I'm looking at me now, you are not going to like
Let's see the DAX documentation before we move on. This let's see the DAX documentation.
Then the mass money.
Count. Count the number of rows in a table. Yesterday column has non-blank value. So yeah. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So why is count now giving me? Let me see the picture for counts again. Yes, count. Because it should give me 18 minus 4 should be what? Should be 14, right? Please, the moderator, are you there? People are waiting in the waiting room.
I don't know.
Are my moderators there?
Hey, my
moderators are not here. So can I? Let me make. Sulia, can I make you? Let me make you. I don't know if you're able to be able to anchor moderate, but let me give you.
That's what you are meant to do right now. So the one from my side, there's time for this thing as a so is it not my PS number? See this in the C.
Sulia, please. I just changed you to presenter now. You can notify if you can actually. I don't know if you can. What's it called? If you can accept, but if you cannot accept, kindly let me know anything in the going on in the charts. Is that clear?
All right, Kavadi.
Thank you. So this count measure should give us 14, but it's giving us 18. I don't know what's wrong with that. But I think we understand the count as in the we understand how this count works. We have counter, it means you should count both the what's it called? Everything in that column that you specify. Count tools, you count a table. count rows only counts table, it doesn't count column. While counts and counter counts a table. What count does is only look for, you count non-blank, the one that doesn't contain blank in your table. That's what counts with us. But counter will count everything, even though it contain blanks. So, and all of these are aggregation functions. As you see here, all of these are aggregation functions. Aggregation functions. So now let's come into iteration functions. When we're talking of iteration functions, we are talking about, it will be, instead of you creating calculated column first before you now aggregate, you can actually do all of those in your aggregator. Like you can aggregate all those things in your measure without needing to create a calculated column first before you now aggregate. So, and from what you have here, we need to calculate these cells. I will do total cells using iterating function. What does iterating function do? It will do same thing as a row context. First. Yes. Yes.
Only they said the voice in the background is disturbing, please. So I don't know if there's anything you can do about that.
Okay, I can't do much. Like, okay, we still have some minutes to go, like I said before. Oh, so I said we like use 1 hour today because there's nothing I can do on that. You just need to bear with me with that. I'm sorry for that. So what iterating function does is it will do the same thing as the calculated, what's the calculated function, which is row context. But you first do row, you will perform row context first, and you now aggregate all of them into one measure. So this same total cells, I will do it without using sum of all those things. I will say, you know what, create here and name it total cells of. Create a new measure, name it total cells. So this total cells now will say sum because I want to do the total of everything. So this iteration function, this anything you see X in an aggregator means it will ask for a table first and your expression. I will say look into fact table for me, which is where I want to do my calculation for. And the expression I want to do is what? Multiply unit price and what? And cost price together. So that is what I want to do. It means look into this table, find unit price and quantity, and multiply them together. So once you multiply them together, don't create them as a column. Sum everything after you multiply them. And once you sum everything, store it into a measure. That's what iterating function does. So if I come here and I say, you know what, look at fact unit price times what? Times quantity, fact quantity. And I close brackets. Once I close this, it will create a new measure. You will not find it in your data, but it will store in your measure, total cells. And if I come here to my measure and I bring it in, you will find the same value as we have for our aggregation that we have before. Total cells. Is that clear? Same thing, right? And that's what aggregator function will do for us. Same thing if you want to do for your what's it called, for your minimum. You can replicate all those ones. So you just know you bring in what's it called, you bring in the table first. Average X will be okay. Look at the fact table and look for the average of the total sum that we did now. Quantity and something. Look at the average. Look at the average of total cells, minimum, maximum, count S, count X. That's what iterating function does. Let me do this average one more again, so we can be able to grab that before we move on for today. So to do average, you come here, you say new measures, average sales. Average sales. And you say average X. Look at fact table for me. That's where I want to do my calculation from. And look at fact of unit price times quantity. Quantity part. And I close. So it means you will do the multiplication of these two, do them together, and do the average after you do everything. You will look at every row of this. Look at this first two, multiply them together. Second row, multiply them together. And after you multiply everything, you will store it as a virtual column, like in those measure. And you will do the average of everything. So once I click on enter, you will find your average measure here. Average sales rather. And once I come here to, we'll find the same when I say here, bring in a new card for me. Bring in a new card for the average sales. Average sales. Can we see that now? We still have the same thing as what we have in our aggregator function. So, and that's what simple function shows. So in our next class, we explain what logical function is, how to use this logic function, and also the calendar tables on Wednesday. Yeah. Before we now move into building visuals. So I will take in our question. 5 minutes. So Celia, please let me know if there's question. You can help me to what's it called? Can help me to accept them, like unmute them. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Celia, you can speak.
My question is just to know if the iterative function, can we use it in creating calculated columns?
No. You cannot use iterative function to create calculated column.
Okay. So iterative function is just specifically for
measure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question. I didn't see any question in the chat. Okay. You have 4 minutes to go for today. Question in the chat. Yeah, which I think I will communicate that on Telegram. Actually, I want to do it yesterday, like Sunday, where my body is not doing okay. So, but let's see before the week comes out, I will do the correction for the aggregator function.